Hi guys, Fred Kitchen with Henson & Kitchen Mortuary and the 411, and this is episode number 9. I want to say thank you to all who are sending us emails and comments and messages regarding the episodes and how helpful they are. Appreciate that and appreciate you sharing these videos. Be sure and share these videos with your friends. That's how we get the word out. That's how we help other people make better decisions when it comes to final planning. So we want to go ahead and get into this week's episode, which is called Chain of Custody. And we're talking about cremation in the state of West Virginia. That's what we talked about in last episode, episode number 8. And we talked about the process. What is the process, the legal process involved? So this week we're going to talk about the chain of custody here at Henson & Kitchen Mortuary and the chain of custody from start to finish. This all was based off of a question that was submitted to us. How do I know that I'm receiving my loved one back after cremation? So that's where we're going to go ahead and talk about our chain of custody here at the funeral home. If you're choosing cremation and you choose a cremation provider, make sure they can provide you with their chain of custody of what is involved from start to finish. How do we know that that is in fact our loved one? So let's go ahead and jump right in here, and we're going to start with when a hospital calls us, or a hospice, or a family, a death at home, things like that. When we're called, if a hospital or institution would call us, a nursing home, they would provide us documentation that would say this is in fact who this is. We would take that documentation first and we would create an identification bracelet when we bring that person into our care here at the funeral home. So that identification bracelet says, based off of this information, this is who this is. Then at that point, when we would sit down with the family, we would ask them to do an identification viewing. Let's make sure that this is in fact mom, dad, brother, sister. We want to do that, and there would be documentation that would be signed there also saying, yes, that is in fact our loved one. So there is two parts to the identification and the chain of custody process. The other part would be, after that is done, then we would verify through Social Security to make sure that Social Security number that we've received from the medical facility or the nursing home or hospice or even the family does in fact match, and that's who that is. And then at that point, we would need to have all legal next of kin to sign cremation authorization saying, yes, I do in fact agree that we are going to be cremating our loved one, and we're good with that. So that document there. Once we receive those documents, we would provide the death certificate also. We'll create a death certificate from the information that you give us, and with that death certificate, we will take that to the attending physician or the medical examiner. They will sign that, put a cause of death on there, and then we will have those documents all completed. Once we have them completed, then we will submit the death certificate, the cremation authorization forms that the family signs, as well as the other information that we've varied with Social Security and things like that. We'll send that to the state medical examiner. The state medical examiner will review those documents, and then after they review the documents, they will then issue us a cremation authorization or cremation certification document, and then at that point, and only then, can we move forward with cremation. So we want to make sure that there's plenty of identification that takes place, plenty of verification that takes place, as well as making sure everything's legally in order. So once we do that and we submit that to the medical examiner and they issue us a permit, we would then transfer your loved one into either a container in which the family has purchased something outside of a regular alternative container, or they would be placed in an alternative container which would be required that the body be placed in before the cremation process. And then at that point, we would take those documents, we would move forward with cremation. And when we move forward with the cremation process, that ID also that we originally started with, there would be ID document and ID plate that is placed with that person, and that would stay with them through the entire cremation process. And then when the cremation process is finished, that would go into the urn, and the documentation there would kind of follow all the way through. Then when we provide you with an urn with your loved one's cremated remains in that at the end of the entire process, you would sign another document saying, yes, I do accept these cremated remains. These are my my family member, my loved one, and then that would complete the entire chain of custody here at Henson and Kitchen Mortuary. We want to make sure, this is serious, we want to make sure that everybody is in agreement with this. We want to make sure that all documentation is in place and verified, and so we want to make sure that we're doing things the right way. So you should want to make sure that that's done the right way also. So some things that you need to be doing to verify. So this would then complete the chain of custody at this point. Kind of go over again quickly what we talked about last week, which was the cremation process, and we'll just kind of recap here, which was the completed death certificate by a doctor and the funeral director, the identification that we talked about by the legal next of kin. All legal next of kin will sign the authorization documents so that the cremation can then take place. And then those documents are forwarded to the state medical examiner for an authorization to be given to us, and then at that point only can we move forward with cremation here in the state of West Virginia. So it's quite a process. We take care of every bit of that for you. We make it as simple as possible, and we sit down and explain everything. We want you to have complete understanding of what's going on. Now, what we're talking about here today has been the chain of custody on cremation. This is the chain of custody that takes place whether we're talking a cremation with a memorial service, a cremation with a complete funeral and cremation being the final disposition, or whether it's an immediate cremation. So that's what's involved there. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at hensoncares@hensonmortuary.com. Call us here at the funeral home, 304-736-8986. Be sure and check out our website at hensonandkitchen.com, or reach out to us through Facebook. Be sure and share this video. If you've got any questions for us, be sure and send those. Thanks once again for watching. Take care.